and today I am wanting to make a special little vlog for you guys. I've been wanting to make this video for quite a long time. I just haven't quite felt ready to do it yet. But now I'm ready, so if you follow me on Twitter or Tumblr, you have probably noticed that I post quite a few things about mental health and mental health awareness, and that is because I feel very strongly about those causes and that more people need to be talking about it, but also because of my own personal experience with it. We're also going to test, this is also going to be a test about how strong my waterproof makeup is. I was diagnosed in 2010 with bipolar disorder. I was 20 years old at the time, and I was diagnosed at the psych ward in Lincoln, Nebraska, after I had had a severe manic episode. Oh golly gee. I don't know how deep I want to get with this, but I'm kind of trying to just let it out. So whatever happens. Whatever I say. So a lot of people tend to think of bipolar as just very happy and then very, very sad. Euphoria and then depression. What a lot of people don't know is that also associated with mania is irritability, easily frustrated, impulsive behavior, silliness, and racing thoughts and racing speech. I was diagnosed with bipolar 1, and there are a few different types of bipolar. If you want more information on those, I'll leave a link down below so you can check that out. Bipolar 1 is meaning that you have mostly manic episodes, basically, whereas bipolar 2 is more depressive episodes with moments of mania, whereas manic is moments of depression. After I got out of the hospital, I was seeing a psychiatrist and I was put on some medicine. I can't even tell you what the medicine was, but I knew that I hated it. It caused me to gain weight, it caused me to have more acne breakouts, and I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I stopped taking it. And I also, shortly thereafter, David and I moved out to Los Angeles to start our jobs at Maker Studios, and we were very, very excited about that. So my bipolar diagnosis kind of took a back seat to everything that was going on. And also I was in denial. I didn't want to deal with it. I thought if I ignored it, that it would go away. Last fall, I finally decided that I wanted to see a counselor because I was like, okay, this is getting bad. I've almost quit my job a few times impulsively. I've almost maybe I should get help for this. And so I went in, and my therapist is great. She's fantastic. I'm still seeing her, and we started working a lot on cognitive therapy, where I just kind of try and shift my thoughts in a different way, and also just doing meditation and stuff like that. And I thought that would be good. She really wanted me to see a psychiatrist, and I said, I'm fine. It's not that bad. I'll be okay. And the episodes just kept getting worse until I hit my lowest point in December and January of this past year. Around that time, I began to have severe auditory hallucinations, which a lot of people don't actually realize can come with bipolar. They tend to think it's only for schizophrenics, but it comes along with bipolar when bipolar goes untreated for long enough. If you don't know what auditory hallucinations is, it's the same thing as visual hallucinations, but I just heard things in my head, and it's not just thinking, it's an actual voice. And I heard, all I can hear, it got to the point where all I was hearing was screaming, and not just nice screaming, it was shrieking and loud and nails on a chalkboard feeling and it was always right there, like it was somebody on my shoulder screaming into my ear. It's like being trapped on an airplane and there's a crying baby right behind you, and it's a 4-hour flight and you don't have anywhere to go and the baby just keeps crying. It's like that, but 24 hours, 7 days a week in your head. And when you feel that on an airplane, you get like easily agitated, you get frustrated. Most of my time, my depressive part of my bipolar, it manifested itself in what is known as mixed episodes. And mixed episodes are a combination of manic symptoms and depressive symptoms. So I had racing thoughts, racing speech, and impulsive behavior combined with suicidal thoughts. And that's not a good combo. It's really not. I never attempted suicide at all, but I got very close numerous times. And when you have a voice in your head, not only screaming, but also very logically, very soundly telling you over and over that you should commit suicide because it's what you're destined to do, it's really hard not to listen. I was experiencing that, and I very rarely experience the euphoria. Mine is the irritability and the agitation. And it got to the point where I'd be at work and it took every ounce of willpower I had not to hurt somebody and not to yell at somebody. And I felt so out of control. I would keep it in while I was at work. I'd hear that screaming in my head. I'd feel so angry and frustrated and like I had to control this beast inside of me. So I never let it out on anyone else because I didn't want to hurt anybody. And then when I came home, it had to come out on somebody. And so I just let it come out on myself. I would control it as much as possible, and then when it got to the breaking point, I couldn't handle it. I would get so mad at myself and hate myself for being so angry and frustrated, and I wanted the screaming in my head to stop, and I would do anything to make it stop. So I would hit my head on walls, I'd pull in my hair, I'd cover my ears, and I would smack myself. And there were more days than not where I would be in the closet trying to block everything out, or I would be on the floor in the kitchen with my hands clenched as fists so that I wasn't scratching myself or punching a wall or reaching for a knife or doing something that I knew wasn't gonna be good. There were so many times where I was laying in bed or on the floor, like I said, and I was screaming and pulling at my hair and slapping myself and yelling and lashing out because I couldn't contain it. I couldn't control it anymore. I'm so happy I never had it happen outside of my home, because if anybody had seen me like that, if I had seen myself like that, I would have thought I was insane. I would have thought I was crazy. I felt possessed is a really good way to say it. At the end of January this past year, I stayed home late from work because I'd had severe manic episodes the entire weekend. I didn't get much sleep the entire time I was having my low point with bipolar. I was getting about 3 or 4 hours of sleep a night because the voices were so loud that they kept me up and I couldn't sleep. And so I stayed home from work on a Monday, and David he was like, you should stay home because I can tell you're not gonna feel good at work if you go in. So I stayed home, and one of my triggers is loud noise. I was in the living room here when the gardener showed up, and the dogs went crazy. They started barking like no other, like they're prone to do. And the gardener was, of course, doing gardening things and mowing, which is very loud, and I couldn't take it anymore. David was on GChat with me, and he messaged me, and he asked me how I was doing, and I was in such a manic state that everything I was sending him didn't make much sense. It was cries for help, basically. It was, I can't do this, I can't do this, I don't want to be here, I can't do this, I can't, and it was sporadic speech and everything. And so he had to come home early from work, and he told me that if I didn't call the psychiatrist, he was going to. So I called a psychiatrist, and she was so concerned by what I was telling her that she came in, wanted me to come in, and she would see me on her day off. I've been on my medication for 6 months, and I can't describe how being on that and how changing my lifestyle and learning how to not judge my feelings has helped me. I feel like myself, and I haven't felt that way in forever, and it's a really good feeling. There is no cure for bipolar, which means I am going to have this illness for the rest of my life, and I can't take it away. I can't change the fact that I have it, but I had to learn how to accept that I do, because if I didn't accept that I have it, I never would have been able to get treatment, and I never would have been able to feel as happy and stable as I do now. If you are a family member or a friend of somebody who has bipolar or schizophrenia or depression, be there for them, because the support and love and willingness to talk about it means so much more than words can describe. And I am so blessed and so lucky to have David and my family and Allison and Brooke and Ro and all of my other friends who, when they found out about my bipolar, they never judged me, and they never hated me, and they never looked at me like I was my illness. They only ever looked at me like I was Erin, and that meant so much to me, because you aren't your illness. Bipolar isn't something that you can ignore. It's not gonna go away. It's not fair that you have it, and it's not fair that you have to deal with it, but you've got to deal with it. Otherwise, it's gonna control you. And having bipolar is not an excuse for your actions. It's your responsibility to get help. And it's hard. And there are so many people out there who don't want to get it because they're scared. And I totally understand that, because it's really scary. But it's worth it. It's really worth it. And it's not just medication, but therapy and talking about it helps so much. And once you're not afraid of it anymore, you can start learning about it, and you can know how to treat it. You can know what your triggers are, and you can just not be scared of it anymore. And once you're not scared of it, it has so much less control over you. Just know that it will get better. It might not get better tomorrow, and it might not get better the day after that. And it's gonna take a whole lot of patience, and it's gonna take a whole lot of time and dedication, but it will get better, and you can feel like yourself again. If I can help one person, or just encourage one person to get help, or let them know that they're not alone, then that's gonna make this whole thing worth it. Like, it has to make my experiences mean something. I don't really know how to round this video off, because I talked about a lot of things, and crying gives you a really bad headache. I just want to say thank you to everybody that has always been supportive of me, not just with my illness, but also with my YouTube channel. I just appreciate you guys so much and how supportive you are, and I just love you all so much. You're great. I thank you. Honestly, thank you. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye!